This list was inspired by Mike Matei over on the Cinemassacre channel. I've been a huge fan of these guys for many years now, from angry video game nerd episodes to some of their short horror movies. So it just seemed right and felt good to make a video response. Also, I'm gonna admit it, you couldn't get a better clickbait title than what they had right here. This video, if you couldn't guess, is detailing 10 of my favorite skeletons in gaming, all of which weren't in Mike's list. If there's enough demand for it, I'm not saying I'm against making a legit top 10 video game bonus list, because I'm not above that. You know, I can't think of a better way to spend a Friday night than scouring my back catalogue of games looking for the finest in video game bonus. So, that backstory out the way, let's move on to the actual list of my top 10 video game skeletons. At 10, we have Sir Daniel Fortesque from MediEvil. He's a quirky skeleton on a mission for redemption who's not afraid to use his own arm as a weapon if nothing better's around. Despite not having a game out in the past 10 years, this guy is iconic. I recently watched my flatmate play this game a few months back, and it's held up so well to this day. In death, Daniel was celebrated as a great warrior who led the king's royal battalion in vanquishing an evil sorcerer. In reality, he died immediately after being shot by the first arrow fired in the first battle he was involved in. Not wanting his people to be disheartened though, the king erects a hero's tomb to Daniel, telling the people he died bravely after slaying the evil sorcerer. So if you like the idea of a fake hero being revived accidentally by the same villain he was meant to have slain, and then going on a journey to live up to these fake legends, you can easily get behind this guy. At number 9, we have the Grim Reaper from Divide by Sheep. Okay, you know what? I love the art style of this game. Yes, it's basically an app game. Yes, it's a game about maths. But you know what? I'm in my 20s. I enjoyed maths in school. I was pretty good at it, and I don't get to use it that much anymore. So sometimes I just need a simple game about flinging sheep through lasers onto a raft to feel smart. Am I ashamed of this? Yeah, slightly. Do I stand by this being a great game? Hell yeah! At number 8, we have Jack Skellington. I love The Nightmare Before Christmas. As someone who is not into festive movies at all, this is my go-to if I end up in the holiday spirit. Kingdom Hearts let you have the Pumpkin King follow you around as an ally as you explore Halloween Town, Christmas Town, and the rest of the tree worlds, which name escapes me. It's on screen. Chris Sarandon reprises his role as the voice of Jack, and the character stays true to his movie counterpart. This has always been my favourite world in Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, so in my opinion, Jack definitely got the video game representation that we didn't even know he deserved. At number 7, we have Manny from Grim Fandango. Ever hear of this little indie guy called Tim Schafer? Well, this is the game that put him on the map. Manny Calavera is the Grim Reaper. Or in actual fact, he's more of a travel agent working for the Department of Death. He's surprisingly a relatable character that you can watch grow across the story, from that of a sarcastic salesman to an equally sarcastic hero. And you know what? That's all I need to enjoy a game sometimes. Honestly, I probably can't do this game justice. I mean, Wikipedia says that Grim Fandango is often listed as one of the greatest video games of all time. So yeah, if you learned anything in school, it's that Wikipedia is always a totally reliable source and you should use it for everything. And you should probably also give this game a go. At number 6, we have the boss Specnight from Shovel Knight. Now, Spectre means ghost, you have a point, but look, he has a skull on his shoulder. That's close enough for me. He's an undead knight revived and given immortality by the Enchantress to fight Shovel Knight. I feel like he's one of the best boss fights in the game, and definitely had the classic Mega Man boss feel to him. He attacks in a repetitive pattern most of the time, while still remaining difficult to dodge. In the process of making this video, I discovered that Yacht Club Games are actually in the process of adding a Spectre Knight campaign to the game. So with this knowledge in mind, that has me questioning, is number 6 really a fitting position for him? For the time being, I think yes. Another question, do I have the power to predict Yacht Club Games DLC? And the answer is I really don't know. At number 5, we have Gravelord Nito from Dark Souls 1. The first time I played Dark Souls, like many, I had no idea what I was getting into. I borrowed the game off a friend with no knowledge of it, thinking, cool, some open world RPG action thing, yeah, this'll do for a couple hours. Now, when you first see a skeleton in Dark Souls 1, that's pretty spooky. When you realize after killing one they just put themselves back together, that's even spookier. When you fall down a pit and are faced with Gravelord Nito, yeah, that's spooky. He's literally a ball of skeletons held together by a Lord Soul. While not being one of the harder bosses in the game, he definitely has an impact and one of the cooler designs. And if you're anything like me, you'll be remembering him for years to come. At number 4, we have Reaper. While I agree, not technically being a skeleton, the man formerly known as Gabriel Reyes is definitely not human anymore. The Overwatch lore states that victims of Reaper were described as empty husks drained of life, with their cells showing signs of intense degradation. In the game, he just dual-wields some shotguns and shoots everyone to death, so slightly different to the lore. I'm sure more information on what Reaper actually is will come out over time, but until then, he's on a list called Top 10 Boners. At number 3, here's the one I think everyone out there will be pretty happy about. There is no way Sans was going to be left off this list. He fills 2 roles perfectly. One is being the player's guide through the neutral and pacifist routes of the game, taking you out to a nice restaurant and sharing some terrible jokes with you throughout. The other, and click ahead in the video if you don't want this sudden spoiler, the other side of him is a tough as hell boss that wasted a good 8 hours of my life. Undertale probably sounds overhyped to you, but if you haven't played it, it's probably my favourite game of the past 5 years. Definitely from a storytelling perspective. At number 2, we have Papyrus. Shocker, right? I doubt many lists would be ranking Papyrus higher than his brother, but in this case I had to. Now, Sans is a multi-layered character that offers so much to the story, pacing, and general hype around Undertale. Sans breaks the 4th wall of the game by understanding things about the timeline that he really shouldn't be able to. And to me, once you find this out, he starts to feel more like the true protagonist of the game. But Papyrus, his lovability suckered me in. I don't think I've enjoyed a character so much in ever. You can go on a date with him, which is carried out like a battle, he has terrible puns, and have you ever seen a character leave a scene as amazingly as he does during the meeting with Undyne? I didn't think so. Also, when playing the game, I was kind of reading all of his lines in a voice that sounded like this. And after watching a lot of YouTube animations and fan videos, I realized so did the rest of the community. And in my opinion, if you can make so many people imagine the same voice for a silent character, you've done something quite remarkable. And finally, in our number 1 spot, we have Reaperman from Digimon Rumble Arena.
Back down to where you belong.
Now, I know you're probably scratching your head, but this guy is why I wanted to make this video in the first place. I remember getting this game back in 2002, being around, maybe 8-9 years old. Digimon was at its peak back then, with the original series still running, and it was genuinely considered a Pokemon contender. I know that's hard to believe by today's standard, but take my word for it. I remember having a lot of fun playing through the main mode in this game, and then I got to Reaperman for the first time, and let me tell you, I was terrified. Imagine this, you're an 8-year-old kid playing a game from one of your favourite cartoons when suddenly this guy pops up on your screen, the background level becomes some trippy fever dream that makes it look like your game is broken, and he kills you in a few hits. It'd be like getting to the Elite Four in Pokemon and having Slender Man appear to give you a hug. I still remember spending entire afternoons playing through this game, only to end up turning the console off because I couldn't get past this guy. Looking back at it now, his character's design looks like the Grim Reaper went on Pimp My Ride, and Exhibit hooked him up with some new rims. And the background level music is strangely upbeat and kind of awesome, but that didn't stop him from freaking me out as a kid. And for that, he receives the prestigious award of Top Boner, and he can blame Mike Matei for that one.
You win.
Thanks for checking out the video, guys. I upload a top 5 video every single Friday, so if you enjoyed, hit the subscribe button below. I would genuinely appreciate it. I tried to avoid spoiling too much about any of the games I talked about in the video, so that's why some of the explanations may seem a little bit brief. I've linked to the Cinemassacre video that inspired this one in the description below. If by some chance you saw this without seeing their video, which I think is pretty unlikely, I highly recommend you check them out. I've also been trying to up the quality of content on my channel, and that's led me to getting this sweet outro voiceover made that you're about to hear.
You have been watching Hadokane on YouTube. Subscribe below for more quality content.